Hey guys, Stealth here. Some slightly different naval content for me today. World of Warships. I have played World of Warships way back in the day, I think 2015 to 2018, 2019? Like when it first came out, at the end of my, let's say my World of Warship tenure, I managed to grind out most of the tier 10s, at least the ones that I wanted. And then the whole carrier rework just, well, mold my main playstyle of using destroyers and cruisers. So I stopped. But I have decided to get back into it. And with that, we are now in command of the U-69 submarine. That might not sit well with some people, because submarines, well, they can be frowned upon a little bit. I tried using the American submarine. The American submarine didn't really sit well with me. I did very, very poorly with it. And then I had a look at the German one, the U-69. This ship, this boat rather, has torpedoes which have longer range. They have, I'd say, better dive capacity, and they are more stealthy. They also have a consumable, and the consumable allows you to maintain your submerged status for longer. If you're unfamiliar with submarines, over here we have 334, which says I can be underwater for 3 minutes and 34 seconds. But if you add this to that, you're going to actually be able to do that for 30 seconds longer. So with that, or actually maybe if you activate it twice, because you have a cooldown time of 76 seconds, you might be able to do it twice. Now, with this map, we have a pretty decent lineup. There is a tier 5, 6, and 7s. We have a couple of DDs, the Nicholas, the Okhotnik, and the Shiratsu, as well as 2 submarines, the Cachalot and the U-69 on the enemy team. I've decided to move over here on the right-hand side of the map, because this is where I'm expecting the battleships to go. And if I can find myself a pretty decent position here, I might be able to start torpedoing ships that are moving into the cap, or that might be looking to start pushing this side. Whereas behind me, we have my own Gneisenau. Oh, and there's the enemy destroyer. So immediately time to dive. Go to periscope depth. That'll reduce my detection capabilities, but also my detection range. And now, unfortunately, that means I can't actually spot the DD. So we'll just have to keep spotting the Gneisenau and let the other players do some damage against that, because spotting also gives you experience. Quick hydro ping, because that does give me the location of the Shiratsu, and that ship is moving away from me, so that's good news for me. I can start turning back to port. I can start lining up a torpedo attack against the Gneisenau. As for the minimap, I know that the enemy Nicholas has been detected over there, so the Shiratsu is over here. That means that the last DD is in Alpha. The last DD being, of course, the Okhotnik, not necessarily that dangerous. A couple of torps out. I am not interested in pinging this thing right away, because there is still potentially a DD close, and I don't want to test his aggressiveness too soon. There we go, one ping. I tend to go with single pings on submarines, because I want to just have some guidance, but I don't want to give my position away all the time. Now, he immediately turned, and because of that, the spread missed. But this spread does force him to start turning to port, and with that, might actually allow some of my allies to get some shots in. Unfortunately, my own Gneisenau is behind the island here, so I can't actually do anything. So, send another torpedo, the last one from the stern tube. That also allows me to spot the Surrey over there. And we have eyes on the Shiratsu again, but that's thanks to the Omaha. I'm very much looking forward to that DD getting eliminated from the board, because that means I have, well, better chances of making it out of this one alive. Seeing as I'm outside of the range of detection, like visual detection, I can just surface and make sure that I don't have to worry about my depth. Sorry, about my dive time recharger. I can just start building that up and use it when I need it. Of course, the submarine is also faster on the surface. You can see the Gneisenau is very aggressively pushing. He's kind of committed, coming to me. So I have to once again go to periscope depth to make sure that he doesn't detect me. And it is getting quite close. At 570, he was getting, I think, to about 100 and 150 meters range before he was going to detect me. Readying up on the torpedo attack. He's going to have to be real close if he wants to detect me, but it's not impossible. And if he does detect me, he'll immediately start dropping depth charges on top of me. So that is not particularly appealing. I'm gonna have to keep some distance from him. All the while I'm getting a little bit of spawning damage, but it's not that impressive. So, let's get the stern tube ready. Keep some distance from him. Weapon away. Now I can turn over to starboard. Get slightly back towards my own Gneisenau and Akatsuki. And potentially this one torpedo is going to hit without even needing a ping. So that means I don't have to give my position away. Although, you could argue the torpedo kind of does give the position away in the first place. Now he's definitely pushing. He's very, very, very committed here. Which is fine for me, but that means you're going to get pinged. You're going to get torpedoed. And at 3 kilometers, I have to ping him right away, or my torps won't have any turn to turn. So there's the ping. You can see he immediately responds with a dive bomb attack, sorry, a depth charge attack. But it is not to really hit me, and there's 15,000 damage. He is flooding, and that might just be enough. Seeing as he was already badly damaged, as well as probably used his damage control, I don't think he's going to have to do much but flood. And that takes a tier 7 battleship off the board. This does mean that my Gneisenau is slightly safer, but you can see the Gneisenau has retreated, is heading south. There's still a heavy cruiser behind me. There is still about 2 battleships and a DD. And basically we're it. It's the Gneisenau and it's my little submarine. And I am almost out of dive time. Which is a bad time, because the Surrey is quite close. So this means it's time to use that consumable. There's the Surrey. And I have about 30 seconds before I have to surface, which I really do not want to do. Thankfully, the Surrey is moving away, and because he's getting detected and engaged, he has other things to worry about. There's the ping. Surrey does make a mistake here. He tries to turn, but doesn't do it properly. He seems to be running away into the edge of the map, and that doesn't work. Of course, my torpedo is still tracking him. He does not repair, so he doesn't get rid of the sonar ping, and the torpedo collides with the Surrey. Not a whole lot of damage, but it did knock out his propulsion, which makes it all the more annoying, and you can see he immediately repaired that, and at the moment I can't really ping him. But, because he got stuck there, the Gneisenau did slap him for quite a lot of damage. A couple torpedoes passing through. You can sort of see that those are submarine-launched torps. And, yep, there's the ping. I've been detected. This was my ping, by the way, my hydrophone search. And immediately Agincourt responds with another depth charge attack. Surrey also engages in this fight. I'm pretty poor at this point in dealing with enemy submarines. I haven't built that skill up yet, so I decide not to pick that fight. But instead, I am preparing to finish off the Surrey, so that my Gneisenau doesn't have to worry about further high explosive attacks on top of the already ongoing torpedo attacks, and potentially more torpedo attacks and high explosive attacks from the light cruiser that's over there. So, torpedoes out, ping out. I'm hoping that the battleship over there, well, both battleships really, aren't too interested. Decided to give it a double ping. That's 2 hits, so now my torpedoes turn faster. And those torpedoes are immediately getting at the target. Gneisenau throws more shells at him, and that's the Surrey eliminated. Still leaves the enemy submarine behind me, and unfortunately it looks like I'm going to have to deal with this guy alone, because our Gneisenau is mostly dead. There's not a whole lot of Gneisenau left, so it's time to pull back. I am trying to keep spotting him, or rather I tried to keep spotting him with the submarine surveillance consumable. But unfortunately, the Surrey with its last set of torpedoes finished off the Gneisenau, so it's just me on this flank. And that is actually a good thing, because that submarine is going to also have a pretty hard time to detect me. So what I'm doing is disengaging, at least temporarily. I can still try and spot some of the battleships over there. I'll not likely be spotting the enemy submarine, and at the same time I'm rebuilding my depth charge, or my diving capacity. Once that is done, I can slowly start to, well, let's say, stalk around the sea sector, because I do want to push these battleships out and eventually take this sector for myself. That means the enemy submarine, well, they'll likely be around, but there's not a whole lot that, at least with my current skill set, I can do about it. Maybe I should have engaged him, just taken the chance, but I thought I was going to be more useful alive as a spotter. Whereas if I would engage that submarine and it would start really detecting me, both of those battleships could start dropping depth charges on me. Not a good prospect, so I decided not to. Instead, I know that he's heading west, so I'm heading northeast to sort of come up behind him. There's not really an advantage to that, although if it would come to a shooting war, he only has one torpedo tube. But my real goal is to close to the battleship, the Koenig over there. With my detection capabilities over here, you can see that I am still racking up a little bit of spotting damage. I'm preparing a torpedo attack, and since these German torpedoes reload in 60 seconds, and they have 11.5 kilometer range, I can just venture a guess as to where that ship might go. You can see that he is turning, the sonar ping will be cleared, so whereas I was itching to send him a sonar ping, decided not to. Didn't want to give my position away just yet. The enemy submarine might spot the torps. Maybe he'll ping me on the minimap, like point me out to the team. If that happens, so be it. But Koenig and Agincourt, which are clanmates by the way, and they're in a division, they are a little busy keeping themselves alive and trying to keep control over the sea cap while also being stalked by a submarine. You can see that Agincourt kind of guesses where my position is, and he's not very wrong. He's a bit off, but he was correct in that I'm trying to sneak around this side of the map. Koenig pulls back to behind the island. Good work for him. It means that I don't have any chance to engage him at the moment. The submarine most likely around the Brie cap, which works for me because that means the Algerie, the Iron Duke, maybe even the Kirishima can help out in defeating the submarine. The other submarine dies, the Cachalot, and there's the Agincourt. Agincourt kind of comes thundering at me, which I really wasn't expecting. I was expecting him to venture a bit more north, but this means that I might have to go to periscope depth. First I decide to send him my stern torpedo, and then turn all the way back over to starboard to go on the offensive. Arguably, at this point, I could have just gone to periscope depth and shotgun him, which, if you're not familiar with that term, is getting close to the enemy warship, and at about, let's say, 2 to 3 kilometers, engage them with torpedoes at such a range that they can barely dodge. Now, because Agincourt was just heading in a straight line, that gets punished. I don't even have to ping him. He's going to get hit by the torpedo all by himself. So once again, I'm not strictly giving my torpedo or my position away, because I'm simply there to torpedo this guy. Of course, you can sort of backtrack the torpedoes, and that's exactly what the Agincourt is doing. He's going, that torpedo came from over there, so we're going to send out the bomber again, put some depth charges out onto the water, and guess. That means his consumable is on cooldown. Now, the Koenig over here is a full health ship. Agincourt is heading away from me, so this time around I do decide to ping. In hindsight, it was actually pretty useful, considering that the Agincourt was out of dive bombers, depth charges. You can see that the Koenig does a very good job at turning away. Misestimation over there at the sonar ping because they still had the damage control running, but I'm still racking up at least some experience, and I'm kind of pushing these ships north because they really do not want to be here close to my submarine, which works for me. The torpedoes there almost hit the Agincourt, which was not the target, but it kind of happened to get in the way. And when it comes to kills, the Agincourt and the Koenig, they're both tier 5, so it's not like I have to prioritize either one of them. Although, well, eliminating one ship entirely is always better. Agincourt is healing up his health again. He's getting his damage control party, or his repair party back up. And that is going to give him more health, so he is now a fair target. I was expecting him to get finished off, but he isn't, and my torpedoes there, I kind of fluffed those, because I wasn't expecting him to turn quite that way. We're still missing the enemy U-69. I don't know where it is, which is not particularly good, but seeing as I'm not seeing torpedoes on my position, I'm not really too concerned about whether or not they'll come this way. I was trying to double ping him, only got one ping, but that's fine. Because this is still gonna make life pretty annoying for him. There you go, he cleared the sonar ping. He might still be able to dodge, but I think he's gonna eat one torpedo, potentially more. He is definitely going for the dodge. He almost has it, but not quite. I do get 2 hits. Unfortunately, not enough to kill him off. He has 2,450 health left. So once again, continuing to stalk, and as there's no other surface detection capability over here, I can just stay on the surface. Koenig now comes in with their dive bomber, or sorry, depth charge dropper. ASW plane, but it's not to be. So the Koenig, there you go, the Agincourt is down. Koenig is now the last battleship standing, and there is supposedly an enemy submarine out there somewhere. Not my problem. So I decide to stay on the surface, start capturing, which gives my position away, to be sure. But they already kind of know where I am. It's just that they don't have an exact location. They sure as hell do now. And there again comes the depth charge plane. This time around I would very much like to do a double ping. There's not a whole lot he can do about it. Unfortunately, once again, he cleared it, but my torpedoes are already on course. Unfortunately, not a full salvo hit, only 2 of them. But it's still a bit of damage. And he is still sort of motivated, if you will, to stay outside of cap range. My surface detection capability, or surface detection range, is 570. So 5.7 clicks. He's 5.9 out. And I'm just long enough staying on the surface to capture this. And I'm able to keep outside of his detection radius. So that's a full capture, and with that I also contributed, at least let's say, a bit of utility to the team. Because that's something I feel the submarines sometimes lack. They don't set smoke screens. They don't do anything in the line of captures, unless you can be really aggressive on the surface. And I'm still finding the right level of balance for that. Now, he did have a pretty decent idea of where I was going, but he fluffed the depth charge. And with that, not that big of a threat. So no additional damage to my ship. He's the last one standing. Still, oh sorry, he's not the last one standing. The enemy submarine's still, I don't know, out here somewhere. I'm not exactly sure what Renown and Kuroshima and Jaguar are currently facing out there. If it's a torpedo fiesta, yeah. I'm sorry, there's not a not a ton I can do at the moment. He's 4.7 clicks out. If I want to have my torpedoes track him, I will have to start pinging them, because that means they will start turning towards the target, making life on the Koenig even more annoying. And there you go, the torpedoes are now homing onto the target. He immediately sends more depth charges my way, and he clears the damage control, or sorry, he clears the sonar ping. Which is annoying, because it means 4 more torpedoes missed. Not part of the plan. I do get Combat Scout, which is a new medal for me, but apparently I did so much spotting damage that I got the reward for that. Oh, there you go. At least 20% of the total base HP of all enemy ships. At this point, I'm waiting for the torpedo launchers to reload the torpedo tubes. He is badly damaged. He does not have a damage control party at the moment, because he seems to have just used that. And there comes the last salvo from the ARP Kirishima, taking that thing out. I say thank you, because he was getting a bit close. I surface, and we are about to tick into a win. Really enjoyed this battle with the U-69. I think it's an excellent, excellent submarine. With that victory, I did have a bunch of XP modifiers, as well as credit modifiers running, and a premium account. So I got about 500,000, 33,000 XP, and 2,655 free XP. Managed to get top of the team, mostly thanks to the Gneisenau, which was able to attract fire, as well as deliver damage onto the targets that I was spotting. So definitely a shout out to Midnight Kitten over here. He really helped me do the damage that I was able to do. Detailed report, damage mostly to, of course, the Gneisenau and the Agincourt, a little bit on the Koenig, but I was mostly a nuisance to him, and I finished off the Surrey. But our Gneisenau definitely did a lot more damage to that Surrey than I did. Credits and XP, as mentioned, there were quite a few modifiers. I was running the ship plus 800% XP, and the daily win bonus plus 50, so that's 30,000 experience. As for cash, did have a modifier for plus 40%, and yeah, that was a pretty good result. Something that I found with submarines is that I really like them. I know some people absolutely hate their guts, which is fine. They're not for everybody, both as a playable ship or as a counter. And this means that not everybody might like this video, but I really enjoy the submarines, and especially the playstyle. I don't know, it's very exciting for me. It really gets my heart going, and I like that because lately few games have been able to do that. So I thought I'd share this battle with U-69. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. If you want to see more World of Warships, definitely let me know. I'll be closely monitoring how this video does, because I generally don't cover World of Warships on my channel at all. But seeing as I have a renewed interest in the game, and it does very well fit within the naval theme of my channel, I might do more. But only if you guys are interested. Thank you for watching. Hope you found it interesting and entertaining, and I'll see you soon for more.